Hey, how you all doing? I'm Bonamorius, and today I'm going to be speaking with Nyokabi Munyaka. Nyokabi Munyaka is Miss Africa Washington State First Princess. That's a load. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So first, explain to us about this pageant.
So the Miss Africa Washington State pageant is an African pageant for African women living in the diaspora, and it caters to women who have platforms and they would like to share them. And it was the first time that it was held in Washington State at the Washington Hall in UW, Seattle. And what it's all about is basically women from different parts of Africa speaking about some of the things that affect their countries, and they feel like it's about time that they are, focused on by their governments, by the whole world, and change should start on those specific issues. So they vary from poverty to HIV and AIDS to domestic violence to FGM to early child marriage to teenage pregnancy. Those are some of the platforms that were featured during the Miss Africa Washington State pageant 2016 September.
Oh wow! And before I go onto the platforms, there's this view that people have about beauty pageants, that it's all about.
What view is this?
Yeah, it's all about skimpy dressing, my bikini, or whatever, and then here you're talking about serious stuff. After you listen, did you have to, are we wrong with that? Image that people have.
Okay.
It's just people being naked and yeah.
Okay. Are you wrong or are you wrong? Let me just be specific.
I'm speaking on behalf of the people. Kuna watu waliniuliza hiyo swali.
Oh, okay. So you're representing the larger population.
Yes, the larger population.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm. No, actually pageantry is, for me, I think it should be considered like a sport. It's something that people put a lot of work into. And it's not just about beauty and dressing up and skimpy dresses. Actually, there's no skimpy dresses. The only category that other pageants have is the swimsuit category, and I think that's the most revealing category that they have. And actually, why they have that category is to allow women to be comfortable in their own bodies, and if they are comfortable to walk on stage with a bikini swimsuit, then that means that they are comfortable in who they are. But specifically, the Miss Africa Washington State pageant did not have that segment because their focus was on a different area, which was to raise awareness.
Which is good. So please let us know, what exactly was your platform? What did you? Because you've talked about HIV and AIDS and poverty and women issues. What particular platform did you run on?
I specifically ran on domestic violence. That's the platform that I felt I would best represent. Based on my own history, where I come from a family where my mom has gone through it throughout her marriage life until she decided to walk away. And I experienced the domestic violence as a second party, whereby the aftermath of the broken home affected me. And so I felt that there's no genuine help out there for kids who come from broken homes, especially homes where you've watched your dad, hit your mom or your mom hit your dad. It works both ways. It's not only men who are, women who are abused, even men are abused. So the impact that it has on a child, it affected me personally, and I felt that those kids are not catered for, and this is something that I would like to address.
So you've spoken about being like a second party, like who's not directly affected. You're not the one who was getting the beatings, but your mom was. So my question is, I think people underestimate the effect such violence has, or anything that happens in their home, the effect that it has on kids. Kids are usually, like, even when people are going through divorce, kids are usually forgotten, nobody thinks about them. So just let people know, how was it for you? Like, this is your mom, this is your dad. Everybody else out there is having a loving relationship as a family, but here you are, things are not as expected. So just share a little bit about your experience.
The experience that I would say is, I wasn't directly affected at first because my mom acted as a shield. So when she walked away, then there was no shield. So I ended up experiencing, first-hand violence. My dad is a drunkard. When he's drunk, he doesn't remember what he does. He'll beat you up, he'll bruise you up, and he won't remember. So at first it started from just experiencing that gap where my mom left, and now when my mom was there, that the fights and the arguments, living in a home where, you can't sleep, there's words being thrown everywhere, to now she's gone and now he has no one to, throw his frustrations on. So I ended up also facing the physical beatings. But what I would say is the effect that has on children is much larger, because at that point I was very focused on school. When my mom was there, I had plans, I had visions, I wanted to be this, I wanted to do that. But then when my mom walked away, some of those dreams were shattered, because now I had this dad who 1 minute he's drunk, 1 minute he doesn't pay school fees on time. He's gone for 3-4 days. I'm looking for him from hospital to hospital, to mortuary to mortuary, to police station to police station.
You don't even know what's
I don't know what's
happening.
going on. I need someone to drop me to school, so I'm going to town, getting a cab with the little money that I have. So I became disoriented in my schooling, in my focus, and to get that back it's very difficult, because I was at an age where my mom left when I was 14 years old. So I was actually at an age where getting lost and losing myself was just in a split of a second.
Now let's back a little bit. Are you the only child?
No, I'm not.
So you have what?
I have an older sister.
An older sister?
Beth. Her name is Beth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually older kids kind of take care of the younger kids and be the shield. So there are two things I want to find out. Number one, you said your mom walked away. So she walked away and left you guys?
Yes.
Wow. Did you guys see it coming, or?
Actually, I didn't see it coming. I mean, she just, from the memory that I have, she woke up one day. Actually, they had a fight before. He came drunk, and he was all messed up, and so they had this huge fight. And she woke up the next day and drove away. She didn't even pick any item, any clothing item. She just drove away, and I never saw her again. Wow. I think she had reached a point of, I'm done. She just couldn't be in that environment. And at 14, you don't really understand.
There's a lot you don't.
In your mind, you think she's the villain, because she left you.
Yeah.
But you don't understand what she's going through until I spent 7.5 years with my dad, and I was asking myself, how did you do this for 24 years?
Okay.
I felt like, she really put up with a lot. So there's that element.
Now, for kids, I know, despite being in the same environment, same family, kids react differently from, to different things, because you're all made up differently. So how tell us the difference between how you reacted and how your sister reacted to the whole domestic violence. Because sometimes you find that there are those who become more, they become hardcore. There are those who just become submissive. There are those who, so we all deal with it differently. For you, at 14 years, you're just becoming a teenager. You're trying, it's already a confusing period. Your mom has walked away. You do not understand, and like you said, you think she's a villain for walking away and just kind of abandoning you guys. How was it different between you and your sister? One, was it different between how you guys reacted? And two, how different was it?
I think we both reacted differently, because she was 19, almost 20 years old. So she's left with a 14-year-old to cater for. So most of I would say, my qualities, my values, I picked up from her. And thanks to my mom, at that age, she had really trained her. So part of my cooking skills, I picked up from her. My morals, I picked up from her. She used to attend each and every parent-teacher meeting that there was at her age. For her, I think she took it up as she has to be responsible, because there's now an irresponsible parent and the other one has left. But I felt she understood more where my mom was coming from than I did, because I think she had, had that maturity to have seen it coming. I didn't see it coming. I was pretty young. So she understood more of what's going around, and she took up that leadership role and took care of me. But unfortunately, I feel like she sacrificed a lot. She was at an age where she was accepted to go to London to do her bachelor's. She had to decline. She had to go to a local university just because of me, which she could still have gone and left me in the hands of my dad, but she felt that she might not find me when she comes back.
Yeah.
I'll probably be lost and she wouldn't be
will
able
not
to
just
put me
live in
back
that
together.
situation.
So she made a lot of sacrifices, and I really, really appreciate that about her. But as she made those sacrifices, I grew learning from her in terms of, taking up a position or a stand and being mature and, dealing with situations. I picked up a lot from her as we went along, and, she took up a lot, including going to find my dad when he's missing, figuring out my school fees when he's missing.
Basically, she became like the mom in the family.
She became sort of a mom. We're very, very close. We're inseparable. Unfortunately, she's not with me here, but we speak almost on everyday basis. Yeah.
Now, did you guys eventually reconcile with your mom? Did you find your mom? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we did. We actually did. That's a great question.
Yeah.
As I grew, older, I had to ask questions, after seeing, what environment I've lived in and seeing my dad for who he was, and I saw that she was shielding me from a lot.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her. She had already moved to the US, and I told her, Mom, I'm 20 years old. I think I'm old enough to know, why did you leave? I had that question, why did you leave? And now she was able to break it down to me, what she had been going through, and she felt trapped, and she felt like, if she doesn't walk away, she could die.
Yeah.
And so I really, honestly, at the point when she left, I didn't understand, and to me, I felt like she just abandoned me, because that's the point where you really need your mom to show up to your soccer game, show up to your choir practice and all those things. But I really do appreciate that she did walk away, because she gave me a safe refuge when my dad, remarried and threw us out and made us homeless in a day.
Okay.
Like,
hold on. You're giving us a mouthful here. So, okay, your mom has walked away. Your dad is, there's all this violence that's going on. So your dad finds another woman.
As usual.
And how was that relationship with your stepmom?
It didn't even kick off. It was so sad. It didn't even kick off. They got married, and 2 weeks later, we were thrown out.
Wow.
Yeah, after the honeymoon, when they came back, she came up with all these rules of how much. The funny one was, I cannot have, what's this? It's called Skippy. Skippy peanut butter?
Yeah.
I cannot have it because it's worth 500 bob, and I finish it in 2 weeks, and that's not economical. Okay. So those are some of the issues that she had. And so for me, I never understood that I've eaten peanut butter all my life. So in my mind, I was like, okay, we're not having Skippy anymore. Yeah. So my dad decided, you know what, you're all old enough. I was 20 by the time. I was 19 turning 20. My sister was almost 26. So he said, you know what, you guys, you can hit the road.
You walk away.
And so, we hit the road, and we were homeless for some time. We reached out to my mom, and within a very short time, she facilitated us getting a house, getting us, furniture, beddings, food. And everything. So I really think her walking away was a blessing. It was like in the story of Joseph, when he left and he was sold, and, poverty struck in their area.
It all worked out.
It all worked out in the end. So I think it was God's way of making sure that when this situation was to happen, we would have someone to run to, because she felt she would have died if she stayed there. And if she was gone, then we would not have had anybody to run to. Now,
most people think that even like in an abusive relationship, there's a self-esteem problem, because you don't find your self-worth, and you stay in a relationship, somebody's treating you not like a human being. And do you think that was, do you agree with that? Like sometimes it has self-esteem issues, and do you think that has come onto you in this way? That having grown up in such a kind of environment, you find most people actually, the kids, they kind of almost always seem to have another domestic violence, partner, or, the cycle grows. For you, what do you think? How did it change you? How did it change you?
I think there could be an element of self-esteem in some cases, not all, but in the African setting, I think it's more of the women think of the children, and they think, you know, these children, as much as their father is a drunkard or this, that image of growing up with a father and a mother is very important in a child's development process. And that is true, because when I had both of them, that's why I was oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah,
because I had daddy, I had mommy, you know, I need this, daddy does, mommy does. So I think for my mom, I would say she stuck around for, especially me, because I was really young. Me and my sister have a 6 years difference in age. So she felt that it would really destabilize me as a child if she left as soon as, you know, everything started, when everything went down. So I think for most women, especially African women, it's more of, you know, first of all, culturally coming, you know, a woman who walks away from her marriage is not really welcome in the community. I know.
Sometimes you even go back to your own mom and your mom takes you back to that, you know.
Exactly.
Can you go back and deal, which sometimes is good and sometimes is not good.
Yeah, so the society does not really advocate for that. So there's that stigmatization of, okay, so I walk away, I do what? Two, there's that financial independence that we African women, most of them do not have. So, you know, you're thinking about, okay, I walk away, my kids, who's gonna educate them, you know, who's gonna, you know, feed them. I mean, I'm stable here financially, my kids can get the best. So I think it's more thinking about the family than they think about themselves. But sometimes also self-esteem issues could play a role.
Which now makes me wonder, do you think that society as a whole, whether, you know, here, whether it's here in America or in Africa, do you have a good support network for domestic violence within our communities? Because like now, if somebody walks out of their marriage, like you know, nina chapwa, that's why I'm walking away. But people will be like, hey, you know, you said there's domestic violence against men.
Yeah, but
mimi kwangu, naonganga mbaya, but do you think we have a good support network? And if not, what can be done?
I think here in the US, they've tried a lot. There are various groups, like there's the Sinahomish Domestic Violence Services, which is one of the places that I volunteer at. And they put a lot of effort to helping women leave the homes where they're not safe with their children. They have a shelter that they offer to them for a period of 1 year. So in that period, they have a program where they help these women, you know, build themselves up and be able to go back and integrate themselves in the community and be able to provide for their families. So I think as a country, the US has put in capital and human resources to make sure that those who are abused are taken care of, as well as they've put in money into ensuring that the abusers are also rehabilitated, and that's something that's very important and I appreciate, because, you know, if you don't also rehabilitate the abuser, then the next person who comes is going to be abused, and then the cycle just continues. So we're just treating people, but the virus keeps spreading. So
what about Kenya? I think Kenya, we're way behind.
Oh, Kenya has a long way to go. I'm a proud Kenyan. I'm very proud to be Kenyan. But I think, first of all, accepting
that it's a problem.
Is first of all a stepping stone. But at least lately I have seen that people are coming up and they're talking about it. Even our politicians, wale wanapigwa nyumbani wamesema, wamepigwa, which is good, because then.
Lakini mwanaume hapasi kusema amechapwa.
No,
he
but
should die with it. But anyway.
That's what you think. But you see, that's a cultural thing that we need to abolish, because.
Yeah, I mean, in Africa. Anyway, so continue. Yes, we don't
need to talk about that, brother warriors. I'm now doubting. I'm not doubting about your safety at this point.
we need to accept. We don't accept.
We don't accept.
Yeah.
And then we need to maybe put in some resources to help those who are abused, as well as the abusers as well. And I think for me, for Africans, it's just a cultural mindset and a communication element. Men feel they're dominant and they want things done their way. Women are also feeling that they should have a say. So if communication is, you know,
improved.
You definitely find the word improved, where, you know, violence is not a means to an end and a communication. So if someone is not satisfied in a relationship, they need to air that, and the other person needs to be accepting that this other person is missing something or needs something done, or I need to change something to make the relationship work. So there's that element as well, but there's a lot we can do.
We still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
So now, besides the platform on you know, domestic violence, what else have you been doing? What can we expect from you? You know, how you've been busy. I've been seeing you sometimes with the mayor, sometimes with you know, you've been a very busy lady. So what have you been up to lately?
Well, there's a lot that I've done in the last year during my reign as the first Princess of Washington State. I had a visit with the mayor, and this was right after, our political state changed. Yeah. And what we were discussing was how we can integrate our African community, make sure that they are well informed so that, they're not taken advantage of or they don't lose their immigration status based on just ignorance, and just making sure that they feel welcome within the community, because Washington State took a firm stand. Yeah. And so it's one thing for the governor to take a stand, it's another thing for us as community members to take a stand. So that's one of the discussions we had with him, and I'll be speaking at the council meeting on the 21st of March, that's next Tuesday, just to share with the council of Federal Way, which is my city.
You're making us look like we are not serious Africans here in the US. Future plans, future plans that you have?
Future plans is I may be doing another pageant. We're still working out the logistics, but we should be doing another pageant, a bigger pageant, where Kenya can be featured on a larger platform, and so that's what's coming up soon. And I've been working with various people in the community, especially the Kenyan community, because you're saying you guys are looking bad. Yeah. I've worked with various people in the community. We have one of our community members who started an African Welfare Association, and I'm helping him, spread the word about it. What
is it about? Because I think I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. Yeah, tell us what is it about?
So the African Welfare Association is a member group. It's not an insurance, it's a member group. And what it is you pay monthly or annual membership. And in case of your passing, we can make sure that your body is transported back to Kenya. We make sure that your wife has a ticket back to Kenya and back.
That's good, because you find that during death, you have to have community people come in. We do a harambe for you. It's an expensive thing to flying the body back home and making sure everybody's comfortable. So that's actually a very helpful thing for society.
Exactly.
So you said it's what, Africa?
It's the African Welfare Association. Okay. So they have a website called africawelfareassociation.org. You can go on the site and read more. And they're coming up with very good products for us as Africans, which can really improve our lifestyle here.
Okay, that's good. So, in conclusion, you said you're going to be preparing for a beauty pageant. Now, what advice will you give some guy who has like a kitambi kama mimi? What goes basically what is the preparation that you have to do? Is this mental?
It's mental, and have a lot of pride in your country, because it's more representing where you come from. And we don't look at vitambis, don't worry about that. Your physique is not it's not really
so I can relax now.
You can relax. They look more into what you bring to the community, and how you look is not relevant. It's what you bring to the table. So I have to do a lot of research, do a lot of community work and a lot of projects. So when I bring Kenya to the table, it's a full meal. It's a full meal.
All right. Thank you very much for the time that you've been able to be with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate the insight that you've given us on domestic violence and the things. I've been following you on social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can find me on Nyokabi Munyaka on Facebook, Instagram. My website is nyokabimunyaka.com. You can follow all the work that I'm doing. I post everything that I do.